Okay, here we go. So, welcome everyone. Glad to see you all. I know it's been a crazy week trying to get everything started and getting going again, but here we go. So, this evening we're going to talk about grant aid and about Trio internships. So, I want to jump right in and talk about grant aid. Grant aid is a supplemental resource that we provide to our uh, participants. And it is something that is done at the end of the semester. And so I'll explain the reason for that and the process that we go through to determine who all can be awarded grant aid. And every year we give out $30,000 in grant aid. That's built into our budget. So um, that's where we're going to start. So let me let's see if I can share my screen here. All right, can you see that? Okay.
Oh, yep.
Okay, so to start off with, um, grant aid, like I said, is a supplemental resource, financial resource that's given to all of our students or given to those who meet all the requirements. And the operative word is supplemental, meaning it is in addition to what you are already getting. And there are some requirements that are set by the Department of Ed, which we fall under the Department of Ed, our program. And so we have to go by what they set. And then we have our own requirements that we ask of participants so that we can determine uh, who is awarded grant aid. So if you'll see on the screen there, Haskell Indian Nations University Trio program has awarded funds from the Department of Ed to assist students with educational related expenses. In accordance with guidelines established by the DOE, Department of Ed, this aid will be awarded exclusively to student support services participants who have financial need documented by the Haskell Financial Aid Office and meet program requirements. So um, there's one that I lift off on here where I put Department of Ed requirements, and that is you have to be receiving federal aid. So if you haven't applied for FAFSA, you can still do that. And if you're in the process, then you need to keep us updated so we know that you have qualified or not qualified for Pell Grant for financial aid. So that's very important. Without it, you can't, you won't be eligible for grant aid. So the requirements are grant aid for students who are in their first 4 semesters in college. Now it doesn't have to be like all at once. So let's say you started and you went for 2 semesters, then you set out a year and you came back. Well, you're still within your first 4 semesters. So those are our priorities. That's set by the Department of Ed, and that's who we look at first. And also, you have to have a remaining need of $650. I think last year we said 600, but when we were doing our annual reports, it showed that the new rate is going to be 650. So let me well, first of all, I don't want to discourage anyone. If you're past the 4 semesters, don't be discouraged because sometimes we don't have people enough people to that qualify who apply for grant aid. So then we have to look beyond that those first 4 semesters. So, but our first priority, first 4 semesters, and once their needs are met, then we move on to anyone else, including those who are, even if you're like a senior and you're about to graduate, as long as you qualify, we can award you some funding. So let me scoot this up a little bit. So the way the remaining need is calculated is the financial aid office will calculate this, your cost of attendance. That's everything it costs you to be a student at Haskell. Now, I know we're not on campus right now, but in the past, they would take into account room and board, fees, books, tuition, any of those expenses that you incur while you're living here at Haskell. But now we'll have to talk with financial aid about how we can calculate that. Let's say if you're living at home, but if you are living on your own, you have, let's say you have your own apartment or something, then it will be just like, normal for you that live off campus. All of your off campus expenses are included in your uh, cost of attendance. So once all of that is figured out, that's your budget. That the financial aid sets up. Then you take away from that everything that you're awarded throughout the semester. That includes Pell Grant, FAFSA, anything you get from your tribe, any kind of academic or merit grants or awards, or anything private. Let's say somebody, you have a uncle that donates $1,000 to your account. All of that is added together and taken into account, and it's subtracted from your cost of attendance. Once they figure that out, the remaining need, that's what's left over, has to be more than $650. It can be equal to or greater than. So if you, after that's figured out, let's say your remaining need is $800, then we can award you that $800 as long as you meet the other requirements. But if your remaining need is less than 650, let's say it only comes up to like 400, then you won't qualify for grant aid. So I know it's kind of a process, and you may do all of the program requirements, but if you don't get past this first one from set by the DOE, then unfortunately you wouldn't qualify for grant aid. But if you do, then it's worth it. And so let's say you have, like I said, $800 to $1,000 on your bill left over, or you're behind on a car payment or something. This money could help you pay those costs down. Now, once we get to that point, then we start looking at our program requirements. And on the backside of your academic, the calendar of events that we sent out in the emails, on the backside, uh, it lists some of the things that are program requirements. And I just kind of condensed them down here. One is that you have completed all of your update paperwork by the 1st of March. And we need those updated forms. Those are important for us to be able, in our reporting, to show that you were enrolled, that you've moved from the fall to the spring semester, and that you're continuing on. The next one is participate in 3 Zoom success seminars, including this one. This one's very important. And if you're not able to participate in them, at least watch the videos. And if you watch the videos, then you have to turn in the evaluation within the time limit, so that we know that you watched the video and you have answered all of the questions in the evaluation. The next one, it would be submit 3 completed grade checks on time. And something about the grade checks, I'd like to just take a minute to kind of veer off there. They're very important because they're a record of your grades. They can help you in the end if you have any kind of dispute with an instructor about your final grade. So it helps leave a paper trail, or in this case, an electronic trail, to show how you're progressing in your classes, and that you're in contact with your instructors. And so it just leaves that trail for you to fall back on if you need it. So those are very important. The next one one is to submit a completed degree checklist. So before the pre-enrollment starts at the end of the semester, we want to know that you have met with your academic advisor, whoever that might be, and that you have looked at your schedule for the following semester, and that you're all set and you're ready and you know where you stand. Because sometimes students will enroll in classes and they're ready to graduate, but they enroll in the wrong classes. So we want to make sure that you're meeting with your academic advisor um, on a regular basis, at least once a semester, so that you know where you stand and what classes you need and how much further out you can project until you graduate. The next one, excuse me, meet with your retention specialist at least once a month. We'll look at 4 meetings: January, February, March, April. That last week in May the first week in May is usually uh, finals week. And sometimes we'll get a chance to meet with you and sometimes not. But it just lets us know that how you're doing in your classes and that um, you're able to, that you're doing okay and your needs are being met. The next one is be a full-time student. You have to be a full-time student. And then the last thing is be in good academic and social standing with the university. And what that means, good academic standing means that you're not on academic probation or anything like that. You have at least 2.0 grade point average. And then good social standing, meaning that you don't have any kind of requirements or anything that from the university side of being in trouble or anything like that. But for the most part, everyone should be okay since we're not on campus right now. But okay, so do any of you have any questions about these? I know that's a lot, and we can send this out to you, this list that we have here, and I'll leave it up for a while. But does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, Ron, I do. This is Sarah over here. So cost of attendance, so rent, obviously, do we add in like food costs and stuff like that?
Yes. Anything that it costs for you while you're here, while you're a student, you can count you can add into your cost of attendance. Let's say if your computer breaks down and you have to get it repaired, or it's stolen and you have to get a new one, that's a cost that to you of being a student. So you can add that in, and you can adjust it throughout the semester. So let's say midway through the semester something happens, and your car breaks down or something, and you have to have a car to get around. That's an expense for you. So you can go and talk to financial aid office and make adjustments in that on your financial aid.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about that for a second, about the how they figure the cost of attendance. So the financial aid office has a formula that they use for every student. So if you live on campus, but you don't live in one of the family housing apartments, then it's somewhere usually around 8,000 to 9,000. But since everybody is technically classified off campus, you would have had to have changed that, which they recommended you to do a couple of semesters ago, right? And so you would go into your FAFSA and make corrections, or send an email to Carlene and say, hey, how do I fix this to off campus? So now everybody should be classified as off campus who has applied for FAFSA. And so typically those amounts that we see, if you don't have any children, can be between 20 to 26,000. But if you have children, it probably is going to be a lot more. So there's a lot of room there to get your Pell Grant, which is what, like $6,300 for a full year. And we're talking about both semesters, fall and spring, not just spring. And so when we get that information from financial aid, it will have everything that you've received in scholarships up to that point. And that's what's subtracted off of your total cost of attendance. So for instance, Alaska students are probably going to have a higher cost of attendance because they figure in travel to and from home, even though they're off campus right now. So there's a lot of things that factor into that. If you want to know more about that, we can kind of give you a ballpark, since financial aid is like super, super busy right now, but we can give you some kind of idea as to what to expect in that way. But there's nothing that we can do about that. If you don't meet that criteria, then we cannot consider you for grant aid. But that doesn't happen very often. Most of the largest number of students that we serve in Trio are both Pell eligible and first generation. So I know that's kind of complicated and really hard to understand, but talk to Ron or I offline if you want a more in-depth explanation of it. We'd be glad to help you with that.
Lori, I do have another question if you don't mind. As far as, okay, so remember when the students got relief aid? So would that count towards awards?
That's a really good question. I know at the beginning of when the CARES Act was distributed, we were told that that wasn't going to count. And I haven't seen it on any of the documents that I've run recently, but I cannot guarantee that that's not going to come up. Because if you've been a Haskell student for a little while, you know how things change around here. So I don't know for sure, but that's something that we can ask and find out for sure if that's going to be counted in your subtracted from your total cost of attendance. My guess is that it is, but I don't know for sure. I hate to say that for sure. But I mean, like
Yeah.
Thank you.
In certain situations, if you're thinking like for instance, when I lived off campus, my total cost of attendance was like $26,000, and I don't have any kids, no dependents, right? So if you take all of those things into consideration, and I got every scholarship under the sun, American Indian Graduate Center, Cobell, American Indian College Fund, I mean, just everything. I applied for everything, and I still had like probably $3,200 of need that was not met. And so that would qualify me for grant aid. Thank you, Ron. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Thank you. And that's a good point. We last year, last spring, in the spring of 2020, the CARES Act did not affect our grant aid distribution. That's not to say it would this year or not. We don't know for sure, but that will play out. And I did want to say that that's why this grant aid is given at the end of the semester, because it has to wait and account for everything that comes in. So sometimes the tribes send their monies at a certain time of the year. So if your tribe doesn't send your money until the end of the semester, that's what we want to make sure all of that is accounted for. So I'm sure we can find that out from Carlene about the CARES Act and how that's going to affect this or not.
So somebody asked if it would apply if this is off of the 2021 FAFSA application. That so when you applied last year for FAFSA for this academic year, it was the 2021. I told the person no, and I'm so sorry. Because I was thinking, okay, so you're applying last year for this year, and this is the 2021 academic year. So the answer would be yes. So sorry about that. And there's a lot of cases too where you can also apply for special circumstances. You normally would do that at the beginning of the academic year, but let's say you go off your parents' income and your parents has had a change in job or something like that, you can contact the financial aid office and say, hey, this is what's happened. Is there anything that I can do to apply for this special circumstance? Can I just also say something about the participation too, just to make sure that everybody understands how that works? So we just keep track of everything that you do. So if you come to the seminar, we just say, this person was at seminar, this person turned in a grade check, I talked to this person this month. And then when we get ready to do grant aid, we add up all of that. Just every time that you participated gets added up into one sum, and then we rank. So I rank all of my students, the person who participated most to the person who participated the least. And so after everybody who's submitted an application for grant aid, and we go through first and say, okay, all these people qualify under the Department of Ed guidelines. We take the people who are in their first 4 semesters first, and then look at their participation and rank them. And then we go to everybody else and rank them, and then decide how we're going to distribute the money that way. But I mean, $30,000 is a lot of money. That's 15 for Ron and 15 for me. So, I mean, our students. So that's a lot. So, and last semester, we hit everybody. We tried to make sure that everybody that qualified under those Department of Ed terms got something.
It's going to be for the leadership course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when we had open house last week, we mentioned that we would be providing or offering a leadership course, digital leadership course, for those students who are interested in possibly developing and improving their leadership, and also having the ability to do some digital storytelling. So those students who are in that course will be provided a GoPro for the semester and be able to do some work with Adobe software, and really have an opportunity to get their voice out there and being able to use different platforms to tell your story and help your students, your fellow your fellow classmates with the things that you create. So Michaela's going to share a link if you're interested. We did reach out to some students who have already showed interest. We will be having class, tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So again, if you are interested, definitely get that link filled out. And then we are going to be having class tomorrow to start that. So if you're interested, definitely let us know, and we can share more about that class. It will be a 13-week course if that was something that you needed to know. And it will be done before finals so that you have the opportunity to really focus in and get good grades on that. So, Michaela, is there anything else you want to share?
No, there's nothing else I have to share. I'm about to drop the application link, and I dropped a link to the Zoom tomorrow for our session.
Does anybody have any questions? I know I kind of went through it really fast. If you want to check out our website, so that's the haskelltrio.com, there is more information about the course, and then also gives you some examples of some of the work that our students have created within the course. Those of you who don't know, we do offer a opportunity for 2 students each year to partake in an internship/mentorship, which is Makayla is our intern for the year. This is actually our second year because we didn't have anybody apply. And so what you do is you get to have one-on-one experience with us, with the team, in the sense of understanding what we do with our program, understanding our objectives, opportunity to take initiative and take charge in our leadership course. You will be developing our social media content. So like flyers, we will have videos. So you really get an opportunity to be part of the team and see what it means to work as a Trio team member. You're definitely going to get to work with other students. You would be working and doing a lot of communication. So that would be something that you would have to do as far as presenting. We do have a semester and a year, but since we are in this semester, we only have, since we have Makayla, we have one internship that is available as of right now. So that information is also on our website. So is there anything else that I need to share on that? These are paid positions. So there will be a background check. However, the only problem is because of COVID and kind of where we are, getting those backgrounds are really hard to come by. So if you do apply for that position and you are selected, that you would kind of follow in where that fall semester if you attend Haskell again. So again, it's really getting the opportunity to work on your leadership. It's an opportunity to work within the Trio community, work with university and other programs and departments and collaboration. There would be a lot of, again, speaking and really just showcasing the leadership. And so with that internship, it would be expected for all of, the things that you're required for the program. Those would be something that you would have as far as a requirement too, making sure that you have your grade checks in, participating. Also, what else is there? If we had any trips or anything like that, that would be something that you would have to be involved in. So really kind of just being the face of our program, and then getting the word out about the things that we do within our program and helping other students be successful as well. And again, a lot of this information is on our website. And so, if there's questions or if you want to ask us about that, you're more than welcome to. Again, it's also giving you guys the opportunity to develop these skills. It's not enough just to go to your classes. You have to do a lot more. And so this gives you an opportunity within that course, as well as getting the opportunity to do your internships with us. So some of the programs, I do believe for AIS, they do have you do internships. So if that's, the path that you're in, you may have the ability to also have that, do the internship and get credit for that as well. So something to kind of think about for your juniors and seniors and even sophomores who are going to have to, really do things outside of the classroom to get that experience.
So I don't see anything that we have up yet as far as the application form to apply for the Trio internship or for grant aid. But we will release the grant aid application and post it up here on this page that says forms. And also the
we could make that available for the application. But if you're really definitely interested, definitely reach out to either Ron or Lori. Again, this is just giving you the opportunity to really develop your skills and getting opportunity to, get your feet wet. For me as a student, I got opportunity to work at different programs, our departments at Haskell, and it got my foot into the door to get that experience and opportunity to work with different people. So again, it's not mandatory, but if you're interested in, you want to spend a little bit of your time outside of classes to do this, we would definitely love that.
Thanks, Yosh. And so just kind of to show you where some of this other stuff is too. Here's the more information about the digital storytelling class. And then Here is about participation. So these are the things, kind of the expectations that we expect from your partnership with us. And these are the things that we take into consideration. Now, here's the thing about this that I want to emphasize and make sure that everybody knows is that every student is at a different level of need. And so if you're really busy, like we have a lot of students in the education department who are student teaching and are not even around campus and have really tight, heavy schedules. We don't want to, pile more work on you. So please just reach out to us and say, hey, look, like, here's my paperwork. I'm doing the best I can to get my grade checks in, but can we just do our monthly meetings over email? I'm just going to shoot you an email and say, hey, I'm doing okay. Or I saw you in the Zoom. I'm going to send you a chat that says, hey, I'm doing fine. So if you don't have as much need for services as some of our other students do, we want to work with you to help you meet what we need to provide for the Department of Ed to make sure that they know that we're doing everything we can for every single student to help them out. And so we have so many opportunities this semester for you to attend a workshop or a seminar. So if you look at the calendar, everything in green and purple, you can sub in and out. So today's recording is going to be up on our website. If people who missed and are like, well, I'm not going to qualify for grant aid now because it was a requirement, just go to the website, fill out the online post-seminar questionnaire. It's like 4 questions, and then we'll get a notice that you filled it out. Or send us an email and let us know that you filled it out. So we'll go there and just pull all of that information that says, I had to work today, so I could not attend this Zoom that they did, but I went and looked at the video and submitted my information for it. So the degree checklist, you should be able to get that from your academic advisor, or you can email the registrar and ask them to do a degree audit. At some point, it's going to be available on the student portal. I just don't know if that's now because we haven't had any training on the student portal. We haven't been in it, so we don't have a whole lot of information there. But we are also happy to help you fill out the degree checklist. It's so much better though when it comes from your academic advisor, because some of you are in programs. So if you're in an AIS program and you want me to help you fill out your degree checklist, I can do that. I can do the top part of it. But when it comes to your program, there are some things there that I don't really know the answer to. So I can do the best I can. But when you consult your academic advisor, they know all of that. They know, okay, well, this is what counts for your upper level AIS classes. Same for environmental science, the business school, and Department of Ed. We probably do not do degree checklists for the education department. Those students are in constant contact with their advisors, and so you shouldn't have any problem getting a degree checklist from them. But again, the registrar is another resource for that. You can ask for a degree audit and they'll give you one, which is really honestly the best place, because when you petition to graduate and apply for your graduation, they will send you a degree checklist back and it'll say, this is what you need in order to graduate, and they have the final say. If your advisor fills out a degree checklist, it might look a little bit different, just some classes moved around, but it's always a good idea to get a degree checklist from the registrar, because they have the kind of the final say. We're still sending out emails every week just to remind you of important dates that are happening around campus, deadlines. The deadline to change your classes is Friday. So it's really, really important for you to look over your schedule and decide what you want to firm up, because anything after Friday that you want to get rid of or swap out, you're going to have to take a withdrawal. And so taking withdrawals, we know, can impact your financial aid. And so you want to try to avoid that as much as possible. So make sure you take a really good look at your schedule and see what you can move around now before that deadline hits. Also, the petition to graduate is coming up next month. the deadline for that. And so if you are planning to get your degree next semester, you have to apply for that and get approval from the registrar for that this semester. So you're always a semester ahead with your degree or petition to graduate. And then here's some more information about active participation. Not only do we consider active participation when we're thinking about distributing grant aid, but we also do that for our cultural events and our trips. And those are really, really fun. And we're kind of in a holding pattern right now with that. But next semester, we're going to go right back to it, or in the fall. So in the fall, hopefully everybody's going to be back together and on campus, and we're going to be doing some traveling. So in those cases, we go right to see our top participants in the program. And like I said earlier, you can be a top participant and kind of do it in a strategic way if you're really busy or you feel like that you may not need as many of these services, because we want everybody to get a fair shot at having active participation. And then just so here's the seminar page, and this is the post-video seminar survey. So you'll click that, put the name of the video that you watched, and then shoot Ron or I an email that says, hey, I watched the video, so please count that. And you'll want to make sure that you do that before the grant aid application is out. Because once that's released and we start collecting applications, we're going to start evaluating that participation. That's it. Who else has anything? Anybody? Any questions about that?
I have a couple of questions, but they're not related to that topic.
That's okay.
Okay.
We'll
So
answer anything.
let's see. The first question I had was, as far as the petition to graduate, I've already turned mine in. Is there anything else we're supposed to do afterwards, or just kind of chill? Like,
So-
is there any follow-up that we need to do?
When did you turn it in? Did you turn it in this semester for the fall, or did you turn it in the fall for the spring?
I turned it in late November, early December for this semester.
Okay, I would email the registrar. So in that
Yeah.
email, you could say, hey, I submitted a petition to graduate and I haven't heard anything. I'm wondering what the status of it is.
Okay.
So I had a student that turned a petition in late, but it was like a day late. So, but the key thing that it alerted us to is that they hadn't heard anything about their petition to graduate. And so that's the reason why, because it was late. So I would definitely reach out to the registrar and say, hey, what's the status of this? What's happening? I know they're really behind in conferring degrees. So, but I would still send an email. If you haven't received a notification that your degree was conferred, that means kind of confirmed, then I'd reach out to somebody and ask and find out.
Okay, that's really helpful. Also, do you guys have a page where there's more information about that internship?
We don't. So what?
Just curious about the deets.
Right. Well,
So-
and we'll post the application, and along with the application, I think there's a job description and things that talk about what some of the responsibilities and duties are. But definitely working around your class schedule.
Yes. And I'm looking at all of that information right now. So let me see if I can share this. Okay. So here is the responsibilities. Now we try to generally look for juniors and seniors, but if you are an active student and you're recommended by your retention specialist, we will take that in consideration, because we want our students to be actively involved. And that's, again, being in charge of doing different tasks and duty as if you are part of the team. So you would be going to, some of those meetings that we have. So again, we are looking at communication, leadership, management, marketing, planning, student learning, and technology. And so you have an opportunity to have hand in a lot of those different things. Again, you're going to be helping to promote our program. How did it make you become successful, and what are some of the things that you want other students to take away from this program, and how it helped you to be successful? Again, we're going to be asking you to do things as if you are part of our team. So again, we're going to ask you to do projects, whereas if you've ever taken any of my courses, I will give you a project, or if you worked with me, I will give you a project and you're responsible for really putting that project together. So, some of your instructors are going to be like, this is how I want it, this, and this. I'm going to basically give you a project and say, all right, this is when it's due. These are, a couple of the parameters, but other than that, you're responsible for, getting that message across, because you're a student. And so you understand, as a student, what are the ways that are effective for you to be an active learner? When are you able to retain some of that information, and what really pops? And so again, you get the opportunity to take those things and those concerns that you have as a student and really start to help others be able to be successful. Again, it's, me, Ron, and Lori, we can, do these Zoom classes and sessions all day long, but, it's really impactful when you hear from another fellow student and classmate about some of the things that they're doing and how they're going to be successful. You are able to work for this position, it's 20 hours per week, and then it's at $10 an hour. So you have to be able to work at least 106 hours. So again, maximum 20 hours. If you can do 15 hours, that's great. The minimum I think we're looking for is like 12 hours, but the max you can do for each week is 20 hours. We do, again, offer a full year internship as well as a semester internship, but because of the way things are going with the background checks, we're just probably going to just offer, once you get on with us, you're going to get an opportunity to do a year internship or mentorship with us. So here are the things that you're going to have to be required. You're going to have to do, again, this is going to be as if you're applying for a job. We would like for you to start practicing those, interview skills, or getting ready for an opportunity for a career chance. So, again, doing the resume, you got to do the application, current transcripts. You want to have a cover letter, and then the hours that you're going to be available, and then 2 recommendation letters outside of the Trio staff. This is how you would be able to get that to us. You can also email. So here are some of the things that you would be responsible for. Again, don't look at the dates. These have changed, but a lot of it is going to be these responsibilities: peer training, working on the website, planning, coordinating senior recognition event. So that would be entirely on the mentors, interns to get that kind of planned and put together. Program publications, you'll be doing different miscellaneous office duties, program recruitment, and then again, attend all of those Trio events, and then assist us with, planning any of the projects and any of the different sessions that we're going to be having. We want your input because it is important to have you guys at the table when we're doing this. So again, this is the information about that semester internship. Does anybody have any questions? Is that helpful? Again, we don't always put this on the website because we have it open for so long, and then we close that application because we want to get you guys in there early enough to have the opportunity to get a chance to work with students.
So right now it's going to be just the full year and not just like a semester.
So we try to do, so what happens a lot of times is if we do offer it, it depends on how fast that background check goes. And that's why I said a year. Michaela's already in one of the positions, and then so most of the time what will happen is it will start like halfway into the semester, and we don't want you to just get half of that semester to work for us. We want you to get the opportunity to really take the opportunity to work and really get familiar with the program. So that's why we say a year. That helps.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool, cool. Anybody else have any questions about internship? All right, well, does anybody have anything else? Ron, Yosh, Michaela?
Thank you everyone for attending, and
Also, I just want to say real quick, thanks to all my students who turned in their update forms. I really
yes.
appreciate it. I got a whole bunch of them, and I had over 30 contacts already this semester that I counted before the meeting. So thank you. You guys rock. You're awesome. Let me know if you need anything.